Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. I got the call today that the benches for the greenhouse are ready and all the putty, so I'll be driving down to pick them up. I was initially going to take the truck, but then I chickened out. I don't know if it would survive the trip that long. I've never really tested it for long distances. It's going to take me probably an hour and a half to get there, so it'd be a big trip for the truck. So I'm going to take the Matrix, the hatchback, so I'm hoping I can fit the benches in there and still close the hatch. I'll find out. All right, off I go. I have got the Matrix loaded up with the benches. They just barely fit, so they're hanging out the back. I've got the hatch tied down. I've got a rope that stops the benches sliding out the back, and they go right forward, right up here to the windshield. So it's a pretty tight fit in here, but it works. I'll make it home, I hope, without any problems. So off I go. I have made it back home safe and sound, and everything looks in good shape. So I'll unload the car and try out the benches in the greenhouse. I've got the one bench just roughly positioned. I was just trying to figure out how it all goes together. So there's a central leg in the middle and two on each end, and it just bolts to these upright members with the T-bolts. So that's the size of it, and then it has this mesh on the top, which is really good. It'll never deteriorate or, rot apart like wood does. Yeah, so I would put them in, but these corner braces, you can see them here. These ones are in correctly, but I've got to fix up this one, turn them around 90 degrees. Also this corner, and I've still got one to put in down there. So I'll do that first before I put the benches in, because the benches kind of just sit just above the corner braces. It is the next day now. It rained all night and all morning, so it's the afternoon now. I was really tempted to put the benches in, and then I thought, well, to get these glass roof panels in up here, I'm going to need to put my ladders inside the greenhouse, and with the benches there, I couldn't get the ladder over far enough, so I'm going to have to wait until I get the roof glass in before I put the benches in. So I began to take off the putty here, so let's go back, not yesterday, but the day before, and I'll show you some of that. I'm working on taking off all the putty around the windows, getting ready to put the new windows in. So they recommended I buy this tool, which is kind of like, I don't know, looks like a carjacking tool to me. But it's good. You can scrape the putty, and you can also pull it with a kind of claw. So that's what I'm working on now, and it's going quite well. Once I get the putty started, I found you can just kind of peel it off the aluminum really nicely. I probably could have even reused it, but it's probably best to put new stuff in, so it's kind of an even thickness when the glass gets pressed in place with the caps. And the old putty is kind of a bit dirty, may not stick as well. There, so that's that vertical section done. I'll keep working away at removing the putty from the frames. We are supposed to get 4 rainy days in a row, so I don't know how much I'll be able to do. Hopefully it won't rain all day, it'll rain more in the evenings. So I'll keep at it. I have got all the putty off the front face of the greenhouse. Removing the putty from the front face here went quite well, so I've got to do along the sides, the back, and then the roof. So I'll keep going. My Sarissa is getting a lot of flowers on it today. They call it the tree of 1,000 stars. I don't think I have 1,000, but I've got quite a few. That's cool to see. So that was me starting the process of removing all the old putty off the greenhouse. I've got all the new rolls safe and sound in the house where they're nice and dry. So I don't know if it stops raining. It's raining now. If it stops raining, I can start working again on the putty, but it's supposed to rain all day today and maybe for the next 4 days even. So hopefully I'll get some break in the weather and I can start working on it. I'm really excited about the greenhouse. I don't want to stop, but it's just drizzling out here right now. I've got my Austrian pine out on the bench here in the greenhouse. So I want to start needle thinning, getting rid of all the the density of needles in here so I can get light to the branches, so I can get some back budding in there. Right now, because I have such a good needle density on the tree, it's really thick, that the tree is really vigorous because it's been like this all summer and it's just full of vigor right now. You can see some of the older needles in here are starting to go yellow, so it's a good time to start thinning the needles out. The tree will be starting to shut down for the winter soon. So yeah, that's on my list. I may have to do it indoors if the rain continues. If we get a break in the weather, maybe I can do it outdoors, I hope. I've got all my succulents safe and sound in the greenhouse here. This is kind of the dangerous time of year with succulents. If you leave them outside, they get soaked. And then because the weather's cooling down in fall, that soil will stay wet for many, many days, and that's when you start getting root rot. When the tree's not using much water because it's cool out and it's cloudy, and you get wet soil, you start getting root rot. So that's why I have all the succulents and the baobabs and everything in the greenhouse here. And I've got the heater going to keep it warm so it doesn't get too cold and damp in here. So that's the story with the succulents. They're safe and sound until all this rain stops. My avatar grove with the eastern white cedars just loves this rainy weather. The moss is greening up really nicely. The trees love it. They love water. The larches too. I'll have to do one final pruning. You can see up top here, some of these shoots at the apex are getting quite long. They need pruning back. But that would be the final pruning for the year. And then I'll just wait until it gets its fall colors. And then I'll try and take a nice photograph of the forest in its fall colors. I think that would be a nice way to end the growing season. We have some single-digit nighttime temperatures coming. In the high, the lowest I think I saw was 7, which is still quite safe for all these tropicals. Once it starts getting down to, 3 or 4 degrees, you can start to get frost at night, even though it's still above freezing. So that's when you got to start worrying. You have to bring the trees in, protect them from frost. And they may stay in for the year. It depends on the weather. If we get another warm spell, I would bring them all back out on the benches again. Doing that, bringing them in and out until, the weather turns really cool for good. Many of my tropicals have just been growing over the summer. So when I bring them back inside into the plant room for the winter, I'll be going through each of the tropicals like I did last year, pruning them up and working on them, getting them ready for the next growing season. One thing I will do today is I'll pick up some paving stones, the patio stones, for my walkway down here. So I'll have 2 rows. If you come back here, the benches, they fill up, they go right to the edge of the door frame here each side. So then I'll have 2 pavers, so they'll be kind of that width, 2 rows of them going down to the back of the greenhouse. That'll make a nice walkway, and then I'll still have all the gravel underneath the benches for the water to drain through. So that should be pretty good. So I'll try and do that today. I'll have to take the truck, figure out how many of these pavers I need, what sizes you can get them in, and go from there. So I'll do that now. It is still raining, drizzling, so it wasn't a very fun trip, but I'm back. I've got all the pavers in. So I got 6 24 by 30 ones and 2 24 by 24. And that'll kind of roughly fit, as my aisleway in the greenhouse. I think I have about 4 inches left over, which isn't too bad. I can gap them a bit so it'll kind of even out nicely. So they're really, really heavy, these. I was loading them by myself, and some kind gentleman who's picking up some also, helped me load them all in the truck here. So I helped him load his truck up too. So it made it a lot easier with 2 people. It is getting towards the end of the day, and it is just pouring rain and really, really windy outside. I'm just gonna go out and check on my trees before it gets dark out, make sure they're okay. I never did get a chance to unload the cement slabs from the truck. It just poured rain after I got home. Wow, is it ever windy out here? Just pouring rain and windy. I just got to make sure there's no trees blown off the benches or anything. Holy cow, look at them bending. Oh my goodness. Oh, the ladder just tipped over. Oh my goodness. I better make sure that's not going to hit a tree or something. That's okay like that. Okay. Wow, is that ever windy? Okay, so far everything looks okay. There's one tree knocked over here, but that's okay. Yeah, everything's okay out here so far. Yeah, everything's upright. Okay. Well, that's good. I hope it doesn't get too windy in the backyard. Usually it's fairly protected by the fence here and all the trees. Let's just check in the greenhouse. Oh, it's nice in here. I can feel the warmth for the heater running. It's nice and dry. Everything's going to be okay, I hope. These trees that are really bending in the wind, they have fairly large pots, so I don't think they'll tip over or anything. Yeah, I think they'll be okay. All right, I'm going to head back in. Hopefully tomorrow it's not going to be like this. It's going to be a bit of a break in the rain. It is dark out now and it's still raining. So that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.